Good morning, sir.
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Sharon, ma'am, shall we begin, ma'am?
Yes. Anju, please do that.
All right. Good morning. Good morning to one and all present here, dear students, faculty, and you. We are back after a long weekend. So, welcome back. I hope you all had a nice weekend. So, today we're back with yet another session of orientation. Now, today we have with us a very distinguished person. I'd like to introduce the person to you first. We have with us Mr. Shravan Shetty, who is a career coach, a motivational speaker, a career consultant. Now, he began his career with DC College of Business in Kerala. Now, he has ties with Kerala. He considers his Kerala as his second home. Now, speaking about him, he is a career coach, skill consultant, and a motivational speaker with experience of more than a decade. He uses expertise and experience to consult with corporates, startups, educational institutions, and NGOs on projects relating to skill development and micro-learning. He is a proud alumnus of University of Ohio, USA, and Mangalore University, Karnataka. He has in his credit numerous and prestigious projects with impact on school culture, higher education, entrepreneurship, leadership development, employee skills, and whatnot. He began, as I said, working with DC Business School in Kerala, and over the past 12 years, he has worked with United Nations on UNDP and UNICEF projects, and with over 75 companies and educational institutions, including Infosys, Accenture, Astitva Birla Group, Amity, IIPM, and various CA and ACC institutions across India. So he's giving back to the society by working with government and government-aided schools and institutions through various programs, of which the recent one is the Dream School Foundation. I'm honored and absolutely privileged to welcome Mr. Shravan Shetty to this gathering. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing us with your presence. I take this opportunity to formally welcome you to the gathering.
Thank you.
Sir, so before I hand over the mic to you, let me give the students a brief idea about what we're going to do today. So in today's session, Sir will be helping you to explore what it takes to build your brand identity, Astitva. The program will include a bit of self-analysis, a quick look across your career options and learning options after your UG in Jain University. And there will also be a segment which will help you leverage your ACEs in your college studies so that you excel afterwards. So I hope you will enjoy the session and equally benefit from it. Thank you so much, sir, again. I'll hand over the mic to you. The platform is all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Anju. So I would like to start off by saying welcome to probably year one of your professional career. Usually we say that once you're done with your education, but I personally believe that the first year of your college undergraduate course is the day you start building your career and building your brand. I would like to start off by saying that, in fact, I customized my profile, so it might have been a little confusing. What I meant to say is that my first program in Kerala was with DC, School of Management in 2008-9. I began my career much earlier in 2003, working for a startup and then going in for my MBA, and then working with a training organization. So I was working for a company called Grey Caps when I began my association with DC School of Management and Technology. And the reason why I customized it is that when we look at building a profession also, a lot of times we have to customize our experience and showcase how it's relevant to that audience that you are connecting to. So this is just to assure you that I am familiar with Kerala. I have done a lot of work in Kerala and I love Kerala. I also on a personal note, Kerala is also my sasural. My wife is actually from the Mahi and Telcheri side, so multiple connections to Kerala from that sense. So I can see a lot of good morning messages. Few people are joining the call as we are rolling out the session. So good morning to each and every one of you, and also those of you who will follow in the subsequent moments. So where do I begin? So let me begin with a anecdote of talking about two people, and let's say we'll call these two people me and we. Okay, and so usually when somebody starts their school, right, whether you're in LKG, first standard, whichever school you join, it's only me. There's only one person, me, where you join that particular school. Now, slowly after a few days, you begin to make friends, right? And there is me and then there is we, right? Almost like mirror images of each other, where you start building friendships. And initially you hate going to school, then during your school vacation you miss your friends and you can't wait to get back to school, right? So there's this cyclical thing about it. Now as you change schools, you also land up changing these V groups. It takes time to break the ice, make friends. Sometimes you make one or two friends, sometimes you have a large group of friends. So with this me and we cycle, you go through your school, you go through your 11th and 12th, and now you come to the first professional college experience and such, and that's again starting now. And right now as we are speaking, there is only me, right, in the sense that the orientation has just started. Unlike in the previous times where you would see each other and talk to each other and you would really get a good sense of the person sitting next to you, uh, we have a lot of digital sessions now because of COVID-19. uh, is it more audible now? Am I clear?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. So, Monday requires a lot more energy, and probably I was also still in the Sunday hangover as I'm talking to you, and my volume is also not amplified. So let me put more energy, and hoping that this is synchronized with more energy in terms of attention from you as well. So coming back to this me and we, you as a batch have to work doubly harder to look at bonding, because uh, we might have a situation because of the coronavirus where college shuts opens. So you'll have digital classes, then physical classes, then if the vaccine isn't fruitful, then you're again going to go back to digital sessions. So it's going to be open and shut for some time. So definitely when we're looking at this situation as such, it means that you have a more tougher task cut out. And I said more tougher task because if you talk to your grandparents or parents, sometimes they will tell you, depending on how old they are, that how they do not have the kind of facilities that you have, and how life was really very, very tough. When they were growing up, they had to walk kilometers to get to the college, or they had to take a private bus to reach college, so on and so forth. Definitely their life was tough, I'm not saying that, but you as a batch can truly tell subsequent people that yours was the toughest college years, because this was during the time of COVID-19, right? And they say fortune favors the brave. So I'm pretty sure that as much as you might be feeling frustrated that this COVID year is the year in which you're starting your college education, I think you should also take hope in the fact that you will also have a lot more opportunities coming your way. Luckily for you, you are not finishing your college year in this year. You're not in final year college, but you're in first year college. So the worst of the COVID-19 impact in terms of employment and career opportunities will hopefully not affect you. It might affect your super seniors as such. So I want to start by saying that with the me and we story, that now you are all individuals, and you have a wonderful opportunity to start building your relationship with your friends in your class. And do not let the fact that it's a digital relationship that you're building to hold you back. When you get college assignments and you have to work as a team, put in that extra effort and get to know your team. So let me begin by just looking at where we are right now in terms of looking at India, at the center of the world. I say India is at the center of the world because uh, data proves it. We are the world's youngest country, technically, which looks to feeding employment and also being a consumer market. That's the reason why countries across the world are interested in India as a market, and they want to build relationships with. Which means that as you are looking to, finish your studies and go abroad, there are a lot of people across the world who are now looking at their younger workforce finishing their education and trying to get some experience in India to understand the Indian consumer, the Indian mindset overall. And you can see that in your cities. I'm sure uh, over the years you will see more expats in your cities, whether it is Cochin, whether it is Kozhikode, or if you come to Bangalore sometime, you'll find that there are a lot of expats working in India. So this is an indication of how India is at the center of global politics, global markets, and this is going to be there for at least for the next 10 years, 10, 15 years. We're going to ride that wave where we have the uh, we have a highly employable workforce. Now the question is that when I say highly employable, I mean people are looking to hire, but it's important for each one of you to see what is it that you want to get out of this for yourself, right? So I want to begin by stating a personal success framework which I have built. I believe that everywhere you go, when it's a new institution, it's a new school, new college, it's a fresh start for you. Now you might have scored the highest marks in 10th, but if you go to a different school in 11th and 12th, you have to rebuild your reputation with your teachers, with your peers. You might have been a great team player in terms of a hockey team in your school or football team, but when you go to a new place, you have to still align with them, get people to see who you are as a person. They might have assumptions about you, so your astitva, your identity is constantly reforged, whether you move from school 1 to school 2, whether you move from school 2 to a college, which is your 11th and 12th, or you move to a degree college. You might come in with a lot of accomplishments and credentials, but you have to rebuild your reputation, your identity again and again. So the brand work restarts. It's like you might be a great brand in terms of being in Kerala with VGuard as a stabilizer, but VGuard had to build its brand across different countries. Lulu might be a fantastic brand in the Middle East, but the owners of Lulu, when they started their retail outlets and shopping malls in Kerala, they had to ensure that that particular brand positioning is retained. So they had to enter the Kerala market and ensure that that same identity is there. Or people say, oh, their KFC is very good in the Middle East, but KFC is not good in India. I have seen a lot of people say that. I'm sure if you've been to the Middle East, you'll have at least somebody in your family and friend circle who would have gone to the Middle East, right? Because I say this with a touch of humor because I am from Mangalore. My hometown is Mangalore, and in Mangalore and Kerala, once you finish your studies, at least for the past 30 years, you either go to a bigger city like Bangalore or Cochin or Chennai, or you go to the Middle East. So this is from that perspective. So I know a lot of people who compare what happens there and what happens here. So coming back to you as as an individual, as you start your programs, I know a lot of you have are here who are from different courses, so I have made my notes. It's always prepared, it's good to prepare for anything that you are undertaking, whether it's a project, whether it's a presentation, whether it's a client. And for me, you're all prospective clients, so I know that here we have students who have taken up BSc data science, life sciences, forensics, marine science, BCom, BBA, BA journalism, and BA literature. Uh, I don't know if you notice this, but interestingly, if you look at the uh, career pathways that all of you have chosen, uh, a few years from now, all of you could come together and start a really successful organization, because we have people who would be specialists in data science, life sciences, forensics, marine science, and literature is corporate communication. BCom and BBA takes care of, finance, marketing, HR, operations, logistics, supply chain, different functions, right? Based on how you focus your career and build your career ahead. So to begin with, I believe that there are a lot of best practices models that you will learn about it in your field, which is from the global side. But we say that whatever you think globally, we need to do localization as well. So when we do localization, as such, there is adaptation. So I've adapted this personal success framework, which I call as the Astitva framework as such. uh, it has primarily five stages as such. Five is a good number. So the first thing is that, let us say that you want to be the world's best data science analyst, right? Or you want to be the world's best life sciences expert or a great journalist. It begins with you thinking about it and saying that, yes, I want to be the best. Now, if you feel that you don't want to do anything, you just want to go through college, go through life, you're not going to be a brand. You're going to be one of those thousands of graduates in India, or lakhs of graduates, where people say that, people who come out of college education are not employable, right? But in my perspective, that isn't so. Everybody is employable. Everybody can be phenomenal, awesome, each one of you. The fact that you've chosen Jain University and you've enrolled into one of the best universities across India, and Jain University has high recall. And I say this not just from the perspective that I'm running this session, but I've also run sessions for Jain University in for the Bangalore campus as well, for both postgraduates and undergraduates. And interestingly, so when I was doing my BBM in Bangalore University, when I used to go to Bangalore to participate in management fest, the two teams to beat was Christ College and Jain College, right? So pedigree does make a huge difference when you're building your career. The ones who say that pedigree doesn't make a difference are usually people who are from institutes who don't have that extra additional credential as such, right? So first of all, congratulations to each one of you for picking Jain University uh, to begin your education and craft your career. So I want to talk about my fivefold framework. So the first thing is Soch. The second step is Gyan. The third step is Karma. The fourth is Tejas, and fifth is Astitva. And to quickly explain it, anything that you want to master in life, you start thinking about it. And when you start thinking about it, you start accumulating information. Now, there might be boys in this group, in this digital classroom, who want to build a six pack, who want to muzzle up, right? The first step is to think about saying that, yes, I want to muzzle up. I want to have this kind of a physical frame, right? And what do you do then? You immediately start accumulating knowledge about fitness training and how do you what kind of diet you should have, and you start doing this research. Now, after all this groundwork of picking the right gym, right fitness trainer, right dietitian, you put that knowledge to work. So from Soch, thinking about building a great physical figure for yourself and being fit, for both men and women, for each one of you to be fit, you move to acquiring knowledge. And from acquiring knowledge, you start putting knowledge to action. That's what we call as karma. Now, once you start putting your knowledge to work, you start seeing the difference either internally or externally. People will tell you that, hey, you're looking different, hey, you're looking fitter. And now that is basically what people are viewing as the liberation of your inner potential, or tejas, as we said, the glow. You can see the glow in people who physically really push themselves and exercise and such, right? So you can see that. uh, from there, as your this potential begins to get released, people's perception of your identity changes, and internally also you feel different about yourself. Now let's adapt this to one amongst you who decides that you want to get into advertising agency after your uh, BA in literature, or you want to become a writer, after doing your BA in journalism course. So the journey starts now. As you start writing short articles, then you write longer pieces, and you start looking at interesting pieces to talk about. And when you start honing these skills, you can see that people around you, your classmates, your college faculty, everybody starts viewing you differently. So again, the process is similar, right? You can adapt it to data science, life sciences, forensics, based on whichever field you want to master. You want to master chess, anything that you want to be known as, you have to go through these 5 phases as such. And I can see Anantyaka has typed in the chat box that she started a bit of writing. That's fantastic. So you have to keep that consistency going. So from bit writing, if you can write for 15 minutes every day, take it to x amount of output every week, then we are talking from year zero, from year one to year two, what is the progress that you've done in your writing? Year two to year three, how did you leverage it? So it's brick by brick, you're building your competence in these areas, which means that you can do it. You can do short term courses which is outside your college to improve your skill sets, additional certifications, speak to people who are from these fields in which you can build your competence, and take advice from people as well. So before we proceed further, I want you to do this exercise with me right now, where I want you to take a notebook and do this activity with me. So if all of you are ready to do this activity, I want you to type yes in your chat box so that I know that you're aligned. So I'm just going to give you a minute for those of you who've probably not yet got a notebook or a pen with you, you can just take a minute to gather it from in and around you at your house. If you're ready to start the activity, please type in the chat box, ever ready. Please type in the chat box, ever ready. Not just ready, you have to type in ever ready, EVERREADY. It's like the hero in a movie, the star in a movie, whether it's a man or woman who's ready, like the Avengers as such, who's ready to take on the world. Avengers are ever ready to protect the world. So you should be ever ready to kickstart your career. So great to see your enthusiasm. So let's get started. So in your notebook, I want you to write, follow my instructions. So Snake Eyes says, you mean I'm born ready? Yes, you could, say that you're born ready and it's your destiny which has brought you to this point. Every hero has a journey, and your journey has brought you to this. So Vaibhav Deepak says, yes, I'm in. Awesome. That's great. So let's get started. I want you to write down the number 1. Below that, number 2. Below that, number 3. Below that, number 4. Below that, number 5. Below that, number 6. After number 6, I want you to write 10. After 10, I want you to write 8. After that, I want you to write 9, and I want you to write 7. Right? So if you've done with writing the sequence of numbers, please type yes in the chat box. Great. So I want you to, just think about the sequence and tell me what are your thoughts on this sequence of 1 to 10. What is your immediate reaction when you see these numbers in sequence? So I said, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 9, 8, 7. That's the sequence I gave the numbers. So first question, Sana asks is, why did you mix them up? Jomi Joe says, not in order. I like people who ask why, because, when you ask why, it unlocks. Somebody else says jumbled. Aruna says jumbled. Okay. 10, 8, 9, 7. Why did you mix the numbers, says Sarayu. Looks like maths class. It's jumbled. Okay. Okay. It's disorder. Arithmetic sequence is wrong. I think the data analysts are probably speaking up. You didn't study well. Yes, I was very weak in mathematics. I agree with you. Is there a 5? Yes, there is a 5. There is a 5. Yes. So, okay, let me explain and, try to clarify the confusion. So let's imagine that you're sitting with a school student who is probably in third standard or second standard as such, and you ask them to write the sequence irrespective of what age that it could be LKG child. We're just taking a small kid as an example. You ask the child to write from 1 to 10, write down the numbers between 1 to 10, and the child writes down in a jumbled sequence, not in exact sequence. What would be your first response? Now, if it was your first response, might be to pinch the child on the cheek, slightly tap the child on the head, or probably, you know, chevi, what do you say? Chevi in Malayalam for ear. You'll hold the you'll hold the ear of the ear of the student and say that's wrong, right? How many of us would pat the child on the back and say that you have got all the numbers between 1 to 10, you have noted it down? How many of us would focus on the fact that out of the sequence 1 to 6, which is majority of the sequence, is right, and say that a few of it has to be improved? Now, very few of us would do that, right? And the reason is that because we are conditioned in our thinking, uh, as Sana says, I would make them understand their mistake and clear it. Fantastic. So now the focus is that whenever we do anything, we don't focus on what we've got right. We always focus on what's not falling in place. So there is an organization globally which is called as Gallup. You can Google it, GALLUP, Gallup. Gallup is a worldwide leader in terms of doing election polls. They do organizational strategy. They also done a lot of surveys on different aspects. And one of the surveys that they've done is to see who are the most successful people in the world and what are their habits and attributes which makes them successful, both as individual and as organizations. The interesting thing that they have found in all these organizations is that, and individuals, is that the Fortune 500 companies like Apple, Microsoft, GE, Google, all these companies, what makes these companies successful? You look at people who are really at the top of their profession, and if you are going to look at what makes them really top, they found that all these individuals and organizations focus on and maximize the strengths to such an extent that eventually all the weaknesses get weeded out and it overcomes it. So you become stronger and stronger at what you are. So if you are a data science student and really good at mathematics, you should focus on being great at mathematics. Now this will eventually cross over to other aspects in terms of your study. I'm not saying you shouldn't work on weaknesses, but I'm saying focus is that as you work on weaknesses to keep strengthening your strengths. So that is very, very, very crucial. I want you to think about the time that you came out of your examination hall a few months ago. How many of you focused on the fact that, yeah, I got all these right and said good job and prepared for the next? How many of you came out and said, I should have written that answer, I forgot this, I missed out on this, I missed out on this, I missed out on that? And to get out of that cycle of saying that you missed out on, you took at least half a day to come back to a point where you would be able to focus. Some of you did both, that's fantastic. But in the process of looking at what you lost out on, what I'm trying to say is we are our worst critics. We think that other people are criticizers and they're mean to us. If you record their voice of criticism and play it out, and we record our inner voices on how we criticize ourselves when we get something wrong, I assure you each one of you will be found to be guilty of being more critical than what your parents are critical of you. When you lose a competition, you kick yourself more mentally than anybody else will hold it against you. When you lose out and in your examination and you write the wrong answer to another question, you come out and you find out the mistakes that you made, you kick yourself the hardest. On the outside, you might be telling people that, oh, it went well, but internally it didn't go well, and you feel that you should have studied harder or put in some more effort. Against not just studies, I'm saying academics, sports, everywhere, we are our worst critics. So as you're embarking on this journey, you need to manage your internal critical voice. I'm not saying self evaluation is good, self criticism is bad. The moment we say criticism, self criticism, we are doing what other people do. When we do provide feedback to other people, we can say that, hey, this is how you should improve your craft as a movie director. But the moment the critic puts it saying that the screenplay was horrible. Now, the screenplay was horrible is like a blanket thing on every aspect of the screenplay. Actual feedback to yourself and to anybody else should be that point 1, 2, 3, this was good. Point 4 could have been better. 5 could have been treated this way. 6 could have been done that. But to tell somebody who scored 55% in an exam, you did a bad job, is very, very self-critical. It's not evaluative, right? So uh, I'm answering this question because it popped up on the chat box as well. So it's important for us to self-evaluate and see what are the areas of improvement. But to have a self-critic all the while isn't really helpful, right? So imagine you're getting onto a treadmill and you start exercising, and a voice comes to you and says that, hey, you didn't take your 10,000 steps yesterday. You better take 10,000 steps today. And at every step, if you hear a critical voice, you get paralyzed. You can't move ahead, right? So what we need is a coach kind of approach, a self-coaching mechanism where you evaluate what you got right and what could be improved. Important thing is how you talk to yourself. If you say that you messed up, then it's a very blanket thing which will demotivate you and demotivate somebody else, right? So if you're the coach for your football team and your football team loses a match, the way to start giving feedback to the team is not to say that, hey, you guys messed up completely, you lost the match, right? It is to say that I think you played a good the first 30 minutes, you really played well, you did this, you did that right. This is where we need to improve on in the second game, right? So what I'm trying to bring to the fore here is that every day, every week, as you are progressing in your college, at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, when you look at yourself in the mirror, I want you to look at yourself and say that, hey, uh, you know what, uh, today you did the best that you could do. Tomorrow is a different day, right? So it's important for you to always motivate yourself, because if you go out demotivated, your output is going to be at a lower level. If you go out motivated to focus on improving yourself, enhancing yourself, you can actually see the huge difference that you want to see in terms of improving yourself, right? So on that note, on a self-evaluating way, I want you to take down and write down 10 things that you think you're good at, 10 strength areas, 10 things that you're strong on, right? And I want you to write in the opposite column 10 things that you feel that you're not good at, right? Or you want to improve on certain things. So 10 things that are you're good at and 10 things you're not good at, right? So now I'll give you 2 minutes. Please get started. If you're ready to write down what your top 10 strengths are, let's do it in two phases. Uh, if you're ready to write down your top 10 strengths, please type yes in the chat box and say that I'm awesome. I'll tell you why. Type in the chat box, yes, I'm awesome. I'll tell you why. I'm awesome. I'll tell you why. Great. So start writing down the first 10 things that you're awesome, and I'll let me know once you're done. You can just type in the chat box done if you're done with writing down your top 10 strengths. That's interesting. I see somebody saying I'm awesome at procrastinating. I don't think procrastination is, it's like a positive negative. Procrastinating means you postpone, which means that what you could achieve in which you could achieve in 10 years, you'll achieve it in 40 years. So that's what's happening sometimes to countries, right? If it sometimes when you look at the Indian football team, it looks like that. And say, okay, we'll look at being the world's best football team, top 10 football teams next year, next year. And it's been 10 years, and I don't think we will see that day where we will see the football team now in the recent future, being there in the World Cup, final as such. So the moment you're done writing your at least 5 strengths, as you're trying to think of 10 things that you're good at, I want you to, write it down in a notebook for your record. write down at least 5 strengths, and once you're done with your 5 strengths, I want you to put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and type it into your chat box, so that your other friends can also see what are the other relative strengths. So write down your top 5 strengths and put it into the chat box. Oh, it's only to all the panelists. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay, okay. I understand. You can't chat with each other, otherwise you'll keep chatting. I understand that. I understand that. I got that. I got that. Thank you, Anju, for the clarification. Yeah, yeah. So it's okay if you can't see it. So please make a note of it, so that next time when you meet in class and you're formed into project teams as such, you can see what were the 5 top strengths that each one of you identified for yourself, right? I can see
So,
dance.
excuse me, sir. Would you
Yeah.
like me to change the settings to make it visible to all participants for a while?
Yes, yes, yes. Please, please, please,
Or
please
is
do
it
it.
just 1 second?
Yeah. Thanks. So now the question that comes to you is that as you're building your brand identity and you're building yourself as a career brand, why is it important for you to know other people's strength, right? The reason why you should know not only your strengths and other people's strength is that at the end of the day, each one of us is not an island. We can't function as human beings in isolation. If we have to do anything, we are working with teams. Either people work for us or we work for people, we work with each other, right? To build team play, if you are focused only on your strengths, you're going to be arrogant. You're going to only talk about how your agenda is met. But when you see your strengths and the strengths of all your team members, you can see how together everyone achieves more, right? So when you split up the word team, I'm sure all of you know that T stands for together, E stands for everyone, A stands for achieves, and M stands for more. So together everyone achieves more. The best cricket teams are the teams which have a mix of different strengths, right? The best football team is like that. The best dance troupe, the best movie that can be produced or done has to have not just great actors but also good screenplay, good direction, good lighting, good action, good dance choreography, right? It's a team effort. So it's important that you are tuned into working with people who might be better equipped than you and learn from them. You could also be working with people who are not as good as you are and see how you can support them to up it. And that's when people start looking at you and say that, hey, uh, this person has great leadership potential, right? So definitely that's something that so I noticed, for example, that if you look at the fact that right now, when we are looking at this program, we are doing a general orientation across streams. A lot of times we feel that when we are sitting in a classroom and we have 25 people, 26 people, or 30 or 100, that these are our competitors. I'm competing with these people for a job. I'm competing with these people for a particular competition. I'm competing with these people on my studies. That's great. But competition also needs to be set up as a boundary where you don't let this impact you, differently. So I can see that there are people saying, talking about, when you talk about your strengths, it's interesting that in the competitive world, strengths would be something which is to say that I'm very good at writing, I'm very good at communicating, I'm great at presentations, I'm fantastic at using the software, I'm really good at mathematics. I would like to really appreciate you as a batch, because I think a lot of you've spent time on self analysis. I can see the softer humane qualities also coming out. I can see people saying that my strength is my patience. Fantastic. I can see people saying that my strength is my capability to listen. That's fantastic. Listening is a powerful skill, it's a great strength. And if you are listening to listen and not to respond, if you're thinking of, oh, I need to get this point across, then you're not really listening. But if you're listening and understanding what the other person is saying, it works very well. Somebody is saying that I'm a type of human being who mingles very fast. That's fantastic, which means that You could have a great career in sales and HR. You could easily pick people's impulses and work well with them. It's great if you can do that, right? So now I know you've listed down your five top skills in the chat box. Now I want you to think about your areas of improvement or weaknesses, as we call it, for this specific uh, 3-year program that you're going to start working on. I want you to think about what your areas of weakness are, but I don't want you to type it in the chat box. I want you to put down your 5 weaknesses or areas of improvement uh, in your notebook. I don't want you to share it with the rest of the group as of now, or today. When it comes to sharing anything about yourself, I think you should think about it. I know this is the age of social media and we feel very comfortable in sharing everything about ourselves, but also see when you're getting onto social media why you're sharing what you're sharing. So keep this in perspective. So from that perspective, just give me a minute. So strength and weaknesses, or strength and areas of improvement, are two sides of a coin. So a lot of times we focus so much and we say that we should have only strengths and no weaknesses, no areas of improvement as such. That's not the goal of life. The goal of life is to focus on and enjoy the journey of life. Look at work-life balance. So from that note, I would like to ask you to look at 5 strengths and look at 5 areas of improvement that you have to do. And I want you to write on top of your weaknesses the line areas of improvement. Don't put it down as weakness. When you look at that list and it looks like weakness, it's very demotivating for you to work on, right? So I want you to put it as areas of improvement. Put that down. And now what I want you to do is, if you're all done with writing down your 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses, type I am ready for the next level. Type in your chat box, I'm ready for the next level. If you have completed writing down 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses or areas of improvement, type in the chat box, I am ready for the next level. Great. Okay, I can see people saying, ever ready? I'm ready for the next level. So let's go for it. Let's roll, right? So I want you to think of the 3 years ahead and write down this sentence in your notebook. I can be awesome at, or I can be great at, and write down 3 aspects or areas that you can see yourself being great at over the next 3 years. I want you to think of 3 areas where you want to really be fantastic at by the time you come out of this 3-year program. What do you want to be really great at? You can pick anything. Communication skills, I want to be great at data analytics. 3 things which you think, if you are great at, if you build yourself over the next 3 years, you're going to have a fantastic career. What do you think are the 3 aspects which you need to work on? 3 to 5 aspects that you think you need to be great at to take your career to the next level. It could be that you feel that you're lazy, right? You want to overcome laziness, and as a result of that, you want to tell yourself, okay. I can see people have picking areas. I want to be great at fashion photography, event management. Nitin Vijayan says great at hospitality communication. Anybody else? What do you want to be great at? What do you see yourself being great at and building yourself over the next 3 years? It could be hard skill areas based on your course. It could be soft skills. Ashna says be systematic. Fantastic. Being systematic will help you set up yourself to build great routines on a daily basis to set yourself up for success. What else? Nadia says, I want to be great at building a better me. Veena says, be hardworking. Communication, studies, says Fuad. Great at accounting skills, tally, ACCA, trying to be a perfectionist. Fantastic. I want to be great at being self-confident, hardworking, and acquiring knowledge. Great. Good. What else? What else do we have? Anybody else wants to share? I want to be great at acquiring subject knowledge skill. I want to be great at understanding myself. I want to be great in building my career in forensics, improve communication skills. It's not that good. See, that's a great self-awareness to know that you need to improve on your communication skills. Fantastic. I want to be great at getting self-confidence. Okay. Adapting with the new environment. Good. Good that you're aware that this is a new environment. Fantastic. Going to give it another 30 seconds. Great at personality and skills. Want to be a good person to the society. Great. Created psychology, better version of myself, believing in myself and work hard. Normalize mental health, awesome at criminology, photography, driving. Great. To become the one, to be a better person, get rid of stage fear and be more confident. Now, you might be wondering, why is it important for me to ask these questions and ask you to share it in a chat box? What's the entire idea, right? I can improve typing skills, coding skills, and be a better speaker. The reason, young friends, that I ask participants to share what their common fears are, common strengths are, what do they want to improve on, it creates a sense of strong bonding when you know as human beings in a group that you have similar aspirations, right? You have similar fears. That's what brings us together. When there's a cyclone, we all come together to see how we can fight it, even though we know we can't, right? Every time there has been floods in Kerala, people have come together to be there for each other, right? So it's a strong indication of how common troubles can bring people together to work as a team, to work together. Just like COVID-19 is now getting people to work together across countries, to try and find a vaccine, to break this common challenge which has come to all countries at the same time, right? Uh, exactly how we can see each one of these aspirations of yours is specific to you will motivate you to work more towards doing a better job on it. If I come to each one of you and say that your goal should be uh, to, for example, let's say I go to uh, some of the participants and I say, okay, I think you should be a great speaker. Or I say that, Annie, Johnny, George, you need to be somebody who should take up, a career as a forensics expert with the crime branch in Bihar. I go to somebody else and say, Binshid, I want you to go to the Middle East and build your career in logistics, right? Or I go and tell Govind that you should be a chartered accountant. Now, these are things what I am telling you that you should build your career on or be good at, right? which is not going to motivate you. We work best at developing a better version of ourselves when we are tuned into a particular goal and we are clear that this is what we want to build ourselves on. So if you ask me, what would be a perfect way to decide on what career or profession or what kind of a role to work on for the next few, for 10, 20, 30 years of your life, right? And I would say that every 5 years, look at how far you've gone and where you want to go, and ask yourself, is this what I love? Is this what the world needs? Is this what I'm passionate about? Is this what I'm good at? Is this what people or organizations will pay me money for, right? And pay me money what I think is worth my while. So if there is a gap between the money that you want to earn and the skills that you have, then you have to apply yourselves to improve those skills, right? And get what you want. Now, if you say that you're happy with the skills you have and you're happy with the work that you're doing and you're okay with the money, then it's fine, right? You don't need to earn 5 crores every year to be happy. You can earn 5 lakhs and be happy as long as that the work gives you satisfaction. One of the world's highly paid jobs had a person work at the stock exchange in the US for almost 18 hours every day. The person was a nervous wreck, 6 months later, and he left that job which paid him the highest amount of money, and he tried to find something which is an equilibrium of all these aspects, right? What do you love? What are you passionate about? What are you good at, right? You could be very passionate about being a painter, but if you're not good at being a painter, then probably you should take it up as a hobby and not make that your profession, right? So at times a profession and your hobby and your passion, all of it can come together. But there are also people who work an entire week at a job which they're good at, they have the strengths for, and then do what they're passionate about, gardening or farming, on the weekend. So that's okay. There is no one straightforward pathway to build your career. There are multiple pathways for sure, and I know I'm talking about the big picture right now, but when you look backwards and see, anything that you pursue, it comes from internally from you. What do you want to be good at, right? And the more you're good at and the more you're comfortable at, you will know, and it'll reach a breaking point. All of you know the Malayalam actor Nivin Pauly, right? He 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 wasn't, it's not that he straight away got into acting, right? He took up a professional vocational course, and at some point of time he felt this was the right time to take it forward, and he took it forward. Now let's look at the founder of VGuard, who's from Kerala. He worked in another organization for some years, right? And he felt that this was the right time, and he started his own enterprise and started manufacturing stabilizers which turned out to not only solve problems in terms of electricity shortages in Kerala, but for most of India. He unlocked a completely new market for everybody. Or if you look at shampoo sachets, you wouldn't believe it that when people started manufacturing shampoos, they had only bottles of shampoos. One man, CK Ranganathan from Cabin Care in South India, felt that people who are below the middle class, who can't afford shampoo, he made it affordable for them by launching a chick shampoo for just 1 rupee, right? So if you look at it, that if as we are focusing more and more on improving ourselves, as I spoke about your tejas, your potential, you will start seeing opportunities and you will start reforging your identity. The founder of VGuard went from being a person who was an employee to becoming not only an entrepreneur. And at a certain stage in his life, from the VGuard business, they got into the amusement park business, where also they made a mark. At a certain point of time, as he started growing older, his philanthropy and his charity began to improve. He's one of the main forces in terms of driving organ donation. He donated one of his kidneys to a truck driver, the founder of VGuard, who's in Kochosif, uh, Chitlapalli. He has had multiple facets in the way he's contributed to society, right? But when he was younger, like you, he would have focused on saying that as he was pursuing his electronics, that he's going to be great at electronics, right? He acquired the knowledge and skill, and with that knowledge and skill, he built one of the best stabilizer brands in India and probably the world. If you look at the way it's gone ahead in leaps and bounds, and today it's become a aspect where you go to an electronic shop and say, "Give me a V-Guard stabilizer," or you go to a shop and ask for a Gillette shaving blade. I know it doesn't make sense for me to ask for a shaving blade, but in terms of we basically become brands. You go and ask for a particular brand in terms of, so the same way in your college, if there is a competition, by the time you're in final year, the faculty or the department head should say that, okay, if this is going to be a forensics conference where we're going to have a student present a paper, I want this person to go and present it. And that can come only if you are able to show to your professor and your faculty and your classmates that you're really interested in forensics and you know a lot about forensics, and it shouldn't be restricted to what you study in the classroom, right? If you're going to progress based on only what the teachers are going to give you and what you're not going to do, you are going to be at average levels as the rest of your peers. It's not what we are taught, it's what we learn that really counts. So the question is, how are you going to use this to actually enhance your effort level and take your game to the next level? So right now we are at 5 minutes to 11, and I will want to talk about ACEs. What is ACEs and how working on ACEs can take you to the next level? Very consciously working on all these four areas which you already know about. I've just used it as a catchy phrase to talk about ACEs up your sleeve, or ACEs to get you ahead in life. So to dwell more on that, I'm going to give you a 4 minute or a 5 minute break right now, bio break, if you want to use the washroom, if you want to, get a drink of water, uh, you know, just so that you'll be fresh for the next 1 hour of the session. So it's 10:56 on my clock right now. Don't log out of the call. Please stay on the call. Go get a glass of water, or you want to use the washroom, the toilet or whatever. Get refreshed, and we will continue with the session at 11:01. So it's 10:56 now. So I'm giving you just a 5 minute breather just to collect, because Monday is an intense session after a weekend, for sure. So let's take a 5 minute break. Don't log out of this call. Please stay on the call. We'll restart at 11:01. I hope that's okay, Anju.
Yes, sir, definitely. So, sir, let me take this break to communicate one more thing to our students.
Right, right.
See, in the chat box, dear students, I have sent you a Google form. So those of you who come back from break, and if you're not taking a break, just fill out those Google forms. It's relating to last day's session. So you have 5 minutes. That will be more than sufficient to go through it. If you're not done within this 5 minutes, you can keep it for the end of the session. I'll send you the form again. No worries. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So, Hi, everyone. I hope you're all back from your break. I know it's a really short break compared to the extended breaks that you would have got otherwise. Please type yes in the chat box. If you're back, you can just say, hey, yes, I'm back. So, how many of you have watched this Malayalam movie which released recently called See You Soon? How many of you have seen this Malayalam movie, See You Soon? Okay. Which has Fahd Fasal, that movie, yes, yes. I can see that a few people have seen the movie. So I want to use two movies as a reference, to come back into focus. I want to talk about this movie called Ustad Hotel and See You Soon. Have you watched Ustad Hotel? Those of you who watched Ustad Hotel, just type yes in the chat box. Okay. Okay, that's fantastic. So at least one of the movies, most of you have seen it. So I want to take Ustad Hotel as an example and look at the journey of the hero in the movie Dulquer, right? On how his father wants him to do a particular course. He's interested in hotel management. He's interested in, making a career in it, and how he gets started in his career. Then circumstances force him to come back to India, and he goes to this grandfatherly figure of his, right? So I want you to look at how he had skills of a certain level and a certain kind, and how when he came down to India and he started working with a totally different style, from five-star hotels to, looking at a average neighborhood restaurant or a beachside restaurant as such. So I want you to see how he had a certain passion and how he built his skills, how he also localized his skills. So one of the key things that you will learn at Jain University is a blend, right, of best practices, what you will learn about each one of your fields, be it literature, be it forensics, be it data sciences, and you will know it. You will get the knowledge from your faculty, from your institution. You will also get opportunities to implement it at college or in competitions or in different areas. So if you look at all the characters in any movie who are really good at and skilled at anything, it could be a police officer who's really good at, forensics, for example, right? So, or for example, somebody who's really good at hacking, like in See You Soon, you find that there are two, three people who are really good with computers, right? And how they can use it positively as well, but how they can use it to get into other people's private files, get into the police station, take out data. So I'm not talking about the application and saying that you should use it for illegal purposes. But what I'm trying to say is the skill level in that field. How much do you know and how much have you pushed your skills to, right? It depends on how much passion you put through it. You might have 40 people who will come into the same college into a data analyst course and pass out. Now, all 40 might be taught the same with the same tools, same opportunities, everything. But those 40 people will have different skill set, different talent, and the way they build it will be very, very different, right? So whether you take somebody like Devdutt Padikkal in the current IPL season playing for RCB, you take Sunil Chhetri, who's the captain of the Indian football team. You take examples of people who are musicians, right? You take a group like Taikudam Bridge, you take Raghu Dikshit, you take artists, you take a singer like Yesudas, you think of any field that you know of and think of the top 3 or 5 people, you will find that somebody says Arjit Singh, great. Whoever your role model is, whether it's APJ Kalam, whether it is a business person, or whether it is somebody in your own family whom you think uh, is really great at what they're doing, right? You will find that they have talent, but they are also putting in a lot of hard work, right? So in college, to bring it back to context, I'm giving you the big picture, then bring it back to you. If you look at it, there are 4 areas in which you can build your competence during your colleges, in and out of college. And those 4 areas are ACEs. A stands for academics, C stands for co-curricular activities, E stands for extracurricular activities, S stands for social projects or social volunteering. Now, a key debate is what is co-curricular, what is extracurricular. Now, if you are doing a program in dance in your career, then dance is co-curricular, it's not extracurricular. But if you're doing BSc Analytics, dance is clearly extracurricular. But in a BSc Data Analytics, if you're going to be going for a competition, a data analytics management fest competition, or you're going to go for a paper presentation, you're going, so whatever is related to your subjects but not a part of your academics is called as co-curricular, related to your field of study but not in terms of being something which you get necessarily graded for, is called co-curricular. Extracurricular is that which is away from your curriculum, not at all related. It could be dance, sports, acting, anything that you're interested in, gardening, for example, right? So from course to course, the co-curricular and extracurricular will not be the same. So for a data analytics person, going for a literary competition is not co-curricular. But for somebody who's doing BA literature, to go for anything related to writing competitions or to speech debates, it is linked to, as a mass comm student, if you're going for these competitions, these become co-curricular competitions for you. For people who are doing the BBM, BCom, if you go for management fest, that's co-curricular. But if you go for literary competitions or cultural competitions, it is extracurricular for you. So that's the distinction when we look at it. Now, all these areas are important because all these give you opportunities to build different skill sets. Your academics is important for 2 reasons. One, there is a certain eligibility criteria that a lot of educational programs have. If you're applying for a master's in that field, if you want to go do your master's in forensics, there will be academic cutoff. You have consistently good grades and you apply for it, you will be eligible for scholarships as well. Second is that what you learn in your courses in academics is your foundation for greater success in career and life. Please do not believe what people tell you that, academics really doesn't count. What you study in college doesn't really count. When you go out into the real world, what's important is practical knowledge, street smarts, all of that. Street smart is important, practical knowledge is important, but practical knowledge comes from the theoretical foundation, fundamentals. Now, to just stress on it, if you are somebody who wants to be an accountant and wants to do a CA, ACCA, if you do not know your accounting well, there is no way that you can do very well at ACCA or CA or any one of these cost accounting, ICWA as such. You will not, right? So even when you're looking at forensics today, if you are good at understanding all the areas of forensics, tomorrow if you do something in digital forensics and cybersecurity, it adds a feather to your cap, right? But if you are very great at digital forensics and you spend 3 years of your time not looking at the other related crime aspects, you could lose out on greater opportunities if you want to work for intelligence agencies, for example, right? Or you want to work, in the forensics area, even in academics, and you want to do your master's, PhD, and all of that. You cannot ignore your undergraduate course. Today, colleges and universities have made your programs, theoretical courses, the theory part of the course very applicable. So wherever you go, you engage in a conversation. It might be very trending to say, hey, I don't pay attention in class. I'm just focused on what I need to do outside. I'll just go through 3 years of college and then, I'll start thinking about what I need to do. Today, the world's gotten more competitive. You have more options, yes. 20 years ago, Jain University didn't offer all the courses which you are right now joining, right? Why not just Jain University? No institute was offering all these courses that you're seeing. BCom was there, yes. BBA was there. BA Literature was there, but not in the format that you are right now going through it. Not with the kind of exposure levels you're going through. When we were in college, whatever we saw as opportunity windows were fewer, but the population of this country was fewer. Today, you have more options. You also have more people competing with you, right? Which means that whether it is your academics, if you look at academics is where you will learn the theory, co-curricular activities is where you will put it to practical implementation and use, and you can see it in comparison between you and other colleges also if you go for intercollegiate competitions. uh, Extracurricular activities is where you really build your skill sets in terms of response time and how you work as a team, and you discover different facets about yourself, and you could be shaping or honing some of your hobbies, which also has a flow into your overall personality as such, right? If you have played football at various levels, that means that you know how to compete, how to work with different people. So all these become important parts. To just illustrate it, you take a look at any resume of a person who's a a postgraduate as such, you will find that immediately the areas where you will see people mentioning their activities will be in these four areas: your academic, co-curricular, extracurricular, and the most important, social contribution. And you might say, but why should we make it public, the social contribution? Because of the fact that when you're doing charity, you're doing charity. When you're giving back to the community, you're giving back to the community. Today, a whole lot of companies in India, if you want to get a senior management position, they see whether you've been socially contributing over the years. Are you somebody who's been giving back to the community, right? So which means that when you look at building your organization, you build an organization which will contribute to society and community and will not do any harm. You'll also take all stakeholders in society together, right? So which is the reason why there is something called corporate social responsibility, and companies have to dedicate by law 2% of their profits to corporate social responsibility projects, right? So this is something which all the top companies definitely do. So to come back to looking at competencies, I want to put one question to each one of you, right? Can you tell me what is it, one job or one course that you're looking at doing after your current undergraduate degree? Just type into the chat box. What would, let's say if you had an option, right? You will either go for higher studies or you will go for a job. So what would your job be that you think that you would be eligible after this course? And what would be the job that you would be eligible for, which a company that you would like to join, what your designation would be? And also, if you're doing your master's, what will be the course that you will do and which institute will you do it at? It's not enough if you just tell me higher studies, MSc, PhD. It's not enough if you just tell me corporate lawyer. I want you to tell me uh, if it's a law firm you're going to join, which law firm, right? And what position would you get, right? If you do your master's, which which institute are you planning to do your master's in, right? In the subject. So I can see people have said MBA in business and finance. Which institute will you do your MBA in business and finance from? So if you are mentioning, I already did my undergraduate and BA criminal psychology sociology, but interior design is my passion. So I need to become, okay. Jain University or in Dubai. Masters in design from a National Institute of Design. Okay. Says Sana Wahab. Okay. MA in journalism at Jain with MSc Forensic Science at Jain. Great. So the reason why I'm asking you these is that right now, whatever you're putting across are points, are wishes, and you're hoping that you will do this, right? But as you get more and more knowledge, you need to look at moving out of your home also. So Jain University is where you've done your BSc, right? I'm sure that as you are planning to do your MSc at Jain's, uh, there are there are a lot of undergraduate students who are looking to apply to MSc Jain's, right? So MSc Forensic Science at Jain. Somebody wants to do MSc Forensic Science at Canada. Great. So let's go a step forward and say that we are 3 years ahead, and we are in the year 2020, 2021, 21, 22, 2023, right? And in 2023, you are now all, congratulations, each one of you has graduated from Jain University in these following courses that you have taken up. Now, I want you to visualize in your notebook, write down your resume, right? Write down your name and put down resume. And I want you to write down What do you think your overall academic score will be in your UG course? I want you to write it down or type it into the chat box. What's the percentage in academics that you're looking at? In the chat box, what's the percentage you think you will be able to get at the end of the course on an average? Out of 100. Yeah, percentage out of 100. Correct, correct. Somebody, Johan says 93, somebody says 85, 88%. Great. So I want you to write down in the notebook saying, I am making this commitment for my future. Write down in your notebook, I am making this commitment for my future. In 2023, I will have an average of this percentage in 2023 in my course. If you have written down this, the academic percentage you are sure you will get, you can say 90 to 95%, 80%, whatever you say. This is a commitment that you are putting in, right? So if you've written this down in your notebook, type yes in the chat box. Great. So I want you to now look at your co-curricular and tell me, when competitions come up this year, next year, and the year after, I want you to answer me honestly. How many of you will give your name for competitions? All competitions that the college gives you an opportunity to participate in. Let us say okay, great. Type yes if you will give your name for competitions to. Great. Fantastic. So I want you to look at the same notebook and say that I will look at participating in competitions. I make this commitment to participate in competitions and improve my skill sets in college and outside college in your notebook. So do the same thing with your extracurricular. Also decide to contribute your time socially. Every 4 months in a year, look at going to a place where somebody is needy and deserving, who cannot repay you in terms of how you can help them. It could be an orphanage, it could be an old age home, it could be anything where you contribute something, either your time, money, or energy, or compassion, to just see what are the problems they face and see what you can do. It could begin with a few hours, or you could extend it, but commit yourself to do it. I want you to write in your notebook resume 2023, right? And I want you to fill it out as you complete each quarter, each semester of your course. Put down your percentage and see if you are falling behind or are you overachieving. So if you're overachieving, what percentage you pick, which means that you set goals which are very, very basic and not high enough, right? So you need to ensure that you are in line with your goals. So I want you to look at this tool which we use for goal setting. Please write it down. If you're ready to set your goals, say that I can set fabulous goals. Or let's change it, saying I will achieve epic goals, right? So I want you to type in the chat box, I will achieve epic goals in the chat box. If you're ready to write down this tool, I will achieve epic goals. Fantastic. Now to achieve epic goals, we need to be smart, right? So to be smart, let me take you through smart, how to get smart. So write down the word smart in your notebook. Write down SMART. 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 If you're done writing the letters SMART, type I'm epic in the chat box. Fantastic. So let's get started with SMART. Let's get started with SMART. So to set SMART goals, let's look at the tool SMART. S stands for specific. Please write down in your notebooks. S stands for specific. SPECIFIC, specific. M stands for measurable. MEASURABLE, measurable. S is specific. M is measurable. A is achievable. ACHIEAV, achievable. I'll repeat. S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for relevant, T stands for time bound. S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, T for time bound. If you've written down these words and you've completed it, not time bomb, time bound, BOUND, TIM, TIME, time, BOUND, right? Time bound, right? Specific, achievable, relevant, RELEVANT, time bound, which means that within the time that you set for these goals. Not bomb, BOUND, BOUND, time bound, BOUND, time bound, not time bomb. Okay. If you are not time bound and don't meet those goals, it will become a time bomb. So time bound, correct. BOUND. So Sana says that she learned this last year in entrepreneurship. Fantastic. So Sana is somebody whom you can go to as your resident SMART goal expert on Jain University campus. I would request the faculty to give her an opportunity to run a session on SMART goals, because I don't think I will have all the time, but I'll just give you a quick example. So as I said, you're now setting goals for 2023 in terms of what you want to achieve in terms of academics, co-curricular, extracurricular, right? So now some of you mentioned saying that you want to go to Canada, do your master's in forensics, right? Now somebody else might want to do their master's in data science in Australia, Deakin University, for example, right? So the first thing is that to see where you're going, right? If you are going to say that I want to go to North India and you start driving your car, North India is a very huge place, right? So you can reach the border of North India or you can go to Uttar Pradesh. Same way from Kerala. If you say I want to go to Karnataka, question is which part of Karnataka do you want to go to? Do you want to go to Bangalore, Mysore, right? So which means the goals need to be very specific. So which means that if you're looking for a master's program in Canada, find out through the global rankings which are the top 20 programs for data science, for forensics, for literature, right? Or for whichever course, be for a MCOM, MBA, whichever program you're looking at, figure out which are the top 20 institutes, top 100 institutes. Do research on the institute and see what are their expectations to take a fresh graduate, right? If you have to take if you need to take TOEFL, you need to take GRE, you need to take GMAT, right? Or you need to take a different entrance exam to, get into an institute either in India or abroad, right? So which means that you have to start preparing for those entrance examinations right from your first year. If you think that you can do it in final year and get through to NID, it is going to be quite tough, right? So you need to start preparing if you want to get into a National Institute of Design, IIT for an MBA program, or for a higher institute for data science, right? So for example, they say that, you have a great forensics program in Canada or the US. You want to, you need to prep for it. So some of you said that you want to do MSc and PhD, which means that you need to be really phenomenally strong at your subject, right? For you to do your MSc and PhD. It's not just doing it for having it against your name. You need to be really passionate about it and have a certain rigor If you look at the difference between an academician and a corporate going person, we submit in corporate 2-page resumes or a 1-page resume, right? Where the resume is specifically relevant for that particular job that you're applying to. So we might have, loads of experience, years of experience, but when we're applying for only one particular job. But as an academician, when you do your, let's say, BSc, MSc, PhD, I'm sure your faculty and your faculty, Dr. Sharon can, support me on this. You submit what we call as a curriculum vitae, which means that you list down every workshop that you've attended, taken every subject that you've taught, every conference, every paper presentation that you've presented at, right? Academicians have curriculum vitae, which means that everything that they do is like really detailed, and you need to document all of it, right? So academics career requires a different type of rigor which you need to focus on, right? The same rigor is required for research if you want to get into that space. So coming back to SMART, your goals need to be specific. I want to get into Deakin University. I want to get into MSc program in Jain's. What is it, the current eligibility criteria? What is it that you need to do? The chances are that by the time you come to final year, those of you are saying MSc in Jain University, you'll say, I've already done my BSc in Jain University. Maybe it's good for me to go outside, go to a different university, right? Which is completely fine, because the whole idea is that for you is to set goals and go after them, right? So if you decide to do your MSc in Jains, that's also great. But when you enter MSc Jains, you need to ensure that you're a proud ambassador of the BSc program. The MSc faculty should pick up the phone and say, hey, you're sent as a fine student from the BSc program, right? So if you are from a media program and you go to a master's program, people should look at you and say, this particular person is fantastic. Now that won't happen overnight. So you have to have a specific goal, but you also have to have a measuring. So to say that, how are you rating your skill sets when it comes to writing, right? So some of you have taken a BA literature. You have to really work on developing your writing skills, and it can't happen only in college. You need to see how else you can build it, right? On topics outside, write on online blogs, get your articles published, do more groundwork. Do you want to specialize in Shakespearean literature? Do you want to go into a dramatics program post your bachelor's? So you have to have specific goals. You also have to measure how you're moving towards those goals. So if you're going from Cochin to Bangalore, you need to know when you're halfway, when you are, how much have you achieved, how much fuel do you have in the tank. So you need to see what is your preparation level for your goals, whether it is to get into a job, whether it is to pursue higher studies, right? uh, Considering the time given to me, I don't want to start giving you a lot of information about universities and programs that you can take up after your bachelor's. I don't want to talk too much about job opportunities by myself right now, because I feel each one of your courses needs at least 45 minutes to an hour to just give you an overall understanding of the kind of job opportunities that you will have post each one of your courses, BBA, BCom. Now, that after your BCom, you can do a ACCA course, you can do, a CA program, you can also take up, the company secretary course, especially those of you who are passionate about law. It's it's great, if you're getting into law after a BA course, you can do your 3-year law program, and you can take your bar council exams. You can specialize into intellectual property. You can go into different areas. If you're taking up literature and the arts, the career pathways are immense. If you're taking up BSc, again, your career pathways are immense. Whether it's data sciences, life sciences is what is really furthering research in the fight in terms of virology, immunology, and various aspects, multiple career pathways. So definitely we can take that up at a future point of time, where we can look at specific sessions or specific streams. That I leave Dr. Sharon's discretion. I'm sure there are other lovely speakers who will also comment on these and give you more information. Now, the third point, right? I spoke about specific goals, measurable goals. As you're achieving these certifications, going for competitions, your resume is getting filled up, you're preparing for your examinations, or you're getting to know how to apply for a particular job at a particular organization and similar organizations after your undergraduate degree. Now, the third most important thing is achievable, right? you should set goals which are within your reach. Now, if you're somebody who's always been an average 70% student, you can't be applying for a research program where the cutoff is 90%, right? But yes, you can reach there if you're really passionate about it and you're working at improving your scores, right? On a where you're focusing on a daily basis to improve. If you are really want to, achieve those goals. So we say, for example, that we should not set goals which you can easily reach, like the branch of a tree. We should at least aim for the treetop, right? So once you reach the treetop successfully, you can aim for the moon also. But the immediate thing is you should go for uh, for the treetop. So set achievable goals, achieve it, set smaller goals, and then go forward to the next level. uh, so which brings us to relevant, right? So if I am telling you that you should go and do your masters in forensics in Canada and it's not something which you're interested in, then it's not relevant to you. So the goals which you set should be relevant to you. It should not be your friend's goal, it should be your goal. You should see yourself living that dream, living that goal. That's when you're going to really work on this goal to make it smart, right? And you too need to have some time cut off to see if you're achieving what you have set out to achieve, right? So if you say that you want to be a news anchor, and in year one you have not set a time bound goal to see how to improve your communication skills or get over your stage fear, and have done nothing about it, so definitely you are not going to be an anchor by the end of, be able to get over your stage fear. Which means that every 10 days when you get a opportunity, you should stand yourself, record yourself. Or when colleges open up or there are online competitions, you should at least give a 2-minute speech, 3-minute speech, right? So that your confidence improves. So which means that whether it's personal goals and soft skills or hard skills related to the job that you want to get in, because you need to find out now what would be the jobs available for you after your bachelor's degree, and what do people do on those jobs, from 9 to 5, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, just what they do in their first year of work. And if you know what they're going to be doing in their first year of work, and what is the connection between what that is and what you're learning, you can come out of your BSc or BBM program and get into that job, whether it's a digital marketing job, as a BBM guy, sales job, finance job, because you know what is the knowledge you need and what attitude you need to have while working in that first year of work. If you know what it takes, what you need to do there, you'll already prepare for it, right? So once you join such an organization, you'll be one of the top people because you've already been preparing for it for so many years. Whether it's a journalist, whether it is somebody who's taking forward their interest in literature to teach, or data science, life sciences, forensics, whichever job opportunity you're looking at immediately. If you know what the key result areas of the job and what you need to do in your first day, first week, first month on the job, first year on the job, you're going to be phenomenal working in that role. Parallelly, even for education pathways, the master's program, if you know what entrance exams you're going to take, which are the universities you're targeting, your first set of options, second set of options, by the time you complete your final year, you're going to be ahead of your competition, right? As Jain University peers, you're going to be not only belong to a top university, but also be a top performer. You will truly be a brand ambassador. And, so this is SMART goals, right? So I want you to just take a moment, and you don't need to write down all your goals right now, but you need to definitely start thinking about what do you want to achieve at the end of 3 years of your graduation course, right? And this will also determine what is the actions that you will do on a daily basis at Jain University when opportunities come your way, to show your leadership skills, to take initiative, right? To do well in your academics, work well on projects. This is how you will build your brand, first in your own class, in the eyes of your faculty, then interclass, right? People will know about you as you get better and you are what you are good at, right? Then you will see that people will talk about you as person X, person Y from Jain University, from the BSc course. When you go for competitions, do people from the same peer group know of you, right? They might not know you in first year, but by the time you complete your final year, will you have a certain recall value? So they say that if you want to be famous, you have to be seen as a contributing and a hardworking person in your own house, right? From your house to your neighborhood, gully or mohalla, and from there to your a larger area, and then your city, and then from Rameshwaram to Delhi, It took many years for people to know who Dr. APJ Kalam was. But now people know, right? From Rameshwaram, where he was a boatman's son, to where he landed up as the president of India, and all the years where he contributed in different roles. So the question is, what will you be good at, right? And what will you be awesome at? And how will you start working on being awesome at this? So to give you a example, let's look at Sachin Tendulkar, right? When he debuted for India and he was a teenager, he was under 18, 19 years of age, 16 if I'm not wrong. And let's talk about his first test series in Pakistan, where India and Pakistan were drawn at 0-0. And this was the fourth test match at Faisalabad, uh, the Faisalabad city. And India had lost 4 wickets at that point of time. And Navjot Singh Sidhu and Sachin Tendulkar were at the crease. And they had managed to, after losing quick wickets, to hold the fort and to not lose any more wickets. And it was closer to the time that it was the day was going to get over. And Pakistan decided to have Waqar Yunus, one of the most terrific fast bowlers that the global cricket scene has seen. And Waqar Yunus came in and he bowled a deadly Yorker, which hit Sachin Tendulkar, who was not very experienced, right in the middle of the helmet. And Sachin Tendulkar was down on the pitch. Now, somebody would be, uh, hello, hello, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now it is okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just to retrace, after Waqar Yunus bowled that ball into his face, and Sachin Tendulkar was down on the pitch with blood all around. And am I audible? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Sir, you are.
Okay. I think some of you who can't hear me, it could be your network patch issue. So I'll just carry on. So after this situation that they were facing at that point of time, when he looked at him, if he sent him back, then India would lose a wicket, and India did not have a really strong batting order, right down to the bowlers. So they would go into the lower end, and India would lose wickets and could possibly also lose this test match series, right? Because uh, they were, in this, really terrible position. At that point of time, as the blood was, getting wiped from his face, and Sidhu told Tendulkar, go back. Tendulkar, all of 16, looked into Navjot Singh Sidhu's eyes and he said, "Main khelega. I will play." And that's it. Grit, determination. Now, at the age of 16, did Sachin Tendulkar think that he was doing this to get the Bharat Ratna? Did he really think he would have an illustrious cricket career? Was that his plan? Was that playing in his mind, or was it to play for India and play with all his spirit and time, put all his energy in? I think there he wanted to play the best match, do his best on the cricket pitch, right? And this is not an attitude which was formulated by Sachin Tendulkar on that point at that moment. It started way earlier when he was getting coached under Ramakant Achrekar. And in all forms, they say Ramakant Achrekar used to place a 1 rupee coin back in those times in 1980s, on the on the wicket stump, and whoever could bowl Sachin Tendulkar could take it. But Sachin Tendulkar wanted to keep his wicket and take that 1 rupee, right? That was the determination of that youngster. Parallelly, they say that the way Ramakant Achrekar trained cricketers under him is he would have people, irrespective of their age, who would come in to take their pads and run around the stadium, 5 rounds even before they started the match. And we know now, when we look at Sachin Tendulkar, he had incredible stamina. He's one of the quickest runners between the wickets, even on the last day of his match, right? Sometimes running and fielding far more powerfully than people who were, younger than him. So this was basically an attitude with habits and rituals built over a period of time, improvisation on his shots, whether it's Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar. You look at all the best cricketers, football players, they've honed their skills, built their knowledge of the sport. And a lot of them are now training the next generation, right? So I want to bring to your notice back to the same loop of Astitva, building your brand, that you can build a phenomenal career for yourself based on what you do on a daily basis, right? Daily rituals on building your skill sets, whether it is writing, whether it's reading, whether it is presenting, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you put across your thoughts, and not restricting yourself to what you're taught in the classroom, right? From what you learn in the classroom is your foundation through which you can build a beautiful building. You can build it, higher and higher, wider, stronger, right? And you don't need to be afraid, because look at it, every great person in this world was once a baby, was once 20, was once 21, was 18, 19, your age. It's what they did in the subsequent years which took them to this journey of putting their skill effort, right? Soch, Gyan, Karma, Tejas, and Astitva. Your brand gets reforged, it gets recreated, and it's possible for everything to come true. So those of you of stage fear, don't worry. You might not believe me when I tell you this, that uh, I was 18 years of age, right? And I did not have one single successful speech for 18 years of my life. And I have done, from 18 to 23, right? I went through an entire journey of trying to get better, get better, get better. In my first year of BBM at college, I enrolled for a interclass competition where we had to speak on global warming. And I prepared for global warming for close to a month. I took down notes, I wrote it on a paper. I practiced body language. I did practicing body language in terms of practicing welcome to the real world, right? With practicing body language, I practice voice modulation. I wrote it in this big font on a paper and started by hearting it. I did so much of practice where even in the middle of the night, if somebody asked me about global warming, I would say, yeah, the carbon dioxide levels are rising, global warming is taking place, our planet is lost, with emotion, with everything. I practiced this every day for close to a month. And the competition day arrived, the interclass competition. I remember I was contestant number 9. So uh, I was a nuisance at home because I had written down my speech and put it with sellotape at the place where my father used to shave, so that in the bathroom, in my sister's room, on her glass thing, so that I could see it everywhere in the house. And I was people who like to apply makeup and look at a speech on global warming, right? And my father's trying to shave and there's not enough space. I even put it near the puja room, I put it near the shoe rack, everywhere I could see it, right? Because I really want to do well in this competition after not having completed a successful speech all these years of my life. In school, I would go in front of the audience and look down and say, today I'm going to talk about Gandhiji, and I would speak like the Rajdhani Express, right? Nobody understood what I said. Or I would go up on stage when I was in school, look at everybody and say, hi, and I went blank, right? Or forgot parts of me. So every speech of mine before this first year of BBM college was a complete disaster. So with all this preparation, the day of the speech, as I was leaving home, like this Bahubali movie, my mother came and put one kumkum on my thing and said, Vijay Baba, go and succeed, almost like a hero's thing that you will succeed. Of course, as I stepped out of the house, which guy wants to be seen with a tika these days or those days? So I, rubbed it off because I didn't want to be embarrassed in college, right? First year of college impression. What will be the impression that you'll have, on girls, and they'll think that you're one bhakt. Bhakt as in, you're always religious as such. So the person I also the watchman at the college had seen me reading this every day, and he said, what, you failed in some exam, why are you only studying, nobody else is studying, right? So even the watchman wished me best of luck when I said it's a competition, because that day also I was the only guy who was going through a speech as I walked through the college gates. And we had classes, and then we had this interclass competition. So I went into the auditorium where this competition was going to take place. I was running through my speech in my mind. Finally, they called me. I went up on stage and I looked at the audience and I practiced my globe body language. And I said, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this, the speech competition. I'm going to be talking about global warming. And I raised my hands and I showed them the thing, and I was going to go to the next part of the speech. At that precise moment, my principal, Dr. Devraj, just walked into the auditorium. I looked at him. I looked at the audience. Before I could get to the second part of my speech, I looked at the audience and told them, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen." And yes, everybody laughed because I had just completed one line of my speech out of fear of seeing my principal. Not that he was a great person, but I was just scared of the principal, right? I had the stage fear and I thought, what will the principal think about me? And before I knew it, I said, "Thank you." And believe me, I have friends there who at that point of time, who saw this speech of mine going from "hello everybody" to "thank you." One of my friends laughed so much that he fell off the seat. I'm not kidding. He fell off the seat clutching his stomach. That's how much he laughed, right? And I was depressed. I was demotivated. I had prepared for so long to get this 5-minute speech perfectly right. I thought that I will win this competition, and everybody was laughing at me. For the next few days in college, next few weeks, if I go to a college canteen to stand in line to have masala dosa, somebody behind will start saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I'm at near the sports section, people will say thank you. In classroom, if I raise my hand to ask a question, people behind would say thank you. So I was a butt of many jokes as such at that point of time. And I withdrew my name. I had given my name for all competitions. This was first year of college, the year 99 2000, and I withdrew. Then one of the seniors came to me and spoke to me and asked me again about why I had withdrawn my name. I thought this was the usual dragging, right? They ask you about something that you've done so they can all laugh. So I said, "See, already seniors have done it. Why are you again doing this to me? I'm really feeling bad, depressed, and I've just withdrawn my name. I don't think I can ever get over my stage fear. I'm a failure. I think I should just get a desk job after I'm done with my BBM." To which he said, "Shravan, you've not even started. Battles are not won by being a soldier for a day or for a week or for a thing. You have to battle on." And I said, "Anyway, who are you?" He asked me. I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm Shravan Shetty." I said, "How does the world know you as a famous motivational speaker that you've got stage fear? Or are you a great person already?" He said, we all have this thing of, self stigma. And he motivated me along with a few others. There was also Seema, who was from the final year. There was Mithun, and there were a lot of people who motivated me, who were my seniors, who said, "No, Shravan, continue to put in your effort. You will see the changes." And that's where I came up with a plan where I would go on stage and I would plan for just a 1-minute speech. "Hi, I'm going to speak about global warming. This is what I think is the root cause of global warming," one sentence, and say thank you and walk out. So over every competition, I increased the duration of the way I was talking. So just like somebody riding a cycle, I got better every day. And uh, by the time I finished my final year BBM, I could handle questions and answer sessions easily. But if I had to speak on stage extempo, I still needed support. I still needed to refer to notes, right? But I kept at it. I kept taking every opportunity. So I didn't become a motivational speaker or a career coach in 2003, right? So I basically pushed at this for quite some time, for 3 more years. And it was the year 2006 that I decided to get into soft skill training and leadership coaching and corporate training with an organization called Accord after Ohio, where I did work for Infosys and other companies. But looking back, I realized that what really kept me going was that I just looked at getting better every day. And your road to getting over your stage fear doesn't need to be as long as me, because of the fact being that it it took me some time to realize that what was stopping me was me, right? And fear of other people thinking, that I'm not good enough. The moment I realized that I want to grow incrementally, right? I want to improve at even 1% every day, right? The harder I worked on it, the better I got at it. And anything in my life, I do a variety of things. I do consulting, I do work with schools, colleges, corporate startups, NGOs. I realized that it's all about applying time, energy, focus, building your skills. And once you build a set of skills and strengths, these are transferable. You can work across industries and sectors. I worked across 40 sectors so far. I worked with companies like Infosys, uh, which are Indian top companies, TCS, companies like that. I've also worked with global organizations like Dun and Bradstreet. Uh, I worked across the function. So I'm not gloating here. I'm just telling you that I'm talking to you about this guy who was in his first year of college and who couldn't speak. And right now, when I'm speaking, you're probably saying, "Shut up, Shravan," right? Uh, how did I get this way? I got this way because of this principles, right? Of just thinking about saying, I want to see a better version of myself, looking at acquiring the knowledge to get better in that particular area, right? So even for this Jain University program, I've prepared, right? I've prepared. I've seen what courses. I'm trying to look at what are your needs, aspirations. How can what I'm saying make a difference to you, to your confidence, to you to make your dreams work? And I assure you that I went on a trek with TAPMI Business School students in 2011, 12, and 13, where it was a leadership outbound program. And I'm not a guy who used to trek, right? So I went into this Western Ghats area in a trek, and I kept slipping and falling, right? And I kept slipping and falling. I clawed my thing way back to my feet, and I went. At the end of the trek, at least 5 people came to me and said, "Shravan, you're a real inspiration. When we saw this guy, who's larger than us, falling, clawing his way through, and we looked at you, and the times you finally just got up and kept moving on, that inspired us, saying, if Shravan can do it, we can do it," right? So I'm telling you, with all humility, that if I, who had so much of stage fear, uh, can speak and get over my stage fear, so can each one of you, right? It's absolutely possible. Your dreams of studying in the top foreign university is definitely achievable. Your dream of getting that dream job in whichever organization that you want to, that pay package is definitely possible. Whether you want to be interior design, lawyer, anything, you can make it happen if you're going to give it time, energy, focus, and commitment. If you work at 1%, effort every day to improve on any area, right? In 100 days, you're going to be 100% better, right? Whether it's your writing skills, whether it's your speaking skills, whether it is at a subject that you're going to work on. If you can work at 10% increment effort, then every 10 days, you're going to be 100% better, right? So you can be smarter than who you are today. You can be more awesome, fabulous than who you are today, if you're going to be able to just find the time, energy, and focus. Speak to others. People will give you shortcuts. People will give you tricks, tips. Your teachers can tell you how to get better. Speakers who come to you and address you, get in touch with them. If you are on Facebook and Instagram, please create a profile on linkedin.com. Create your profile. One of your faculty, Dr. Sharon Thomas, is already on it. I'm not interacted with the others, so I don't know who is, who isn't. But you can see people who are older to you, what they've done, where they've gone, where they've studied. You can look at the profile, see what certifications they've done, what courses, workshops, fellowships, scholarships they have undertaken. You can get in touch, get more information. Information and knowledge is the greatest bridge to make your dreams turn real. Go for gold, go for it, and I'm sure each one of you is going to be ultra massively successful. You as a batch, this batch should go down in the history of Jain University Kerala as the most phenomenal batch ever. And I think definitely that's possible because each one of us has infinite potential. I would at 11:55 like to close my session by leaving you with one of my favorite, most powerful quotations that I believe in by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It goes something like this. It says, what lies behind you, right, is your past. What lies before you is your future. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. We as human beings are engineered for massive success, to do so much for each other. I assure you, each one of your dreams will come true. Go after your dreams, turn them into goals, work on them, be smart, and you will achieve each one of them. On that note, I would like to thank each one of you for staying on this call, coming back after the break, being with me in the present. Thank you very much for that moment of your life, these 2 hours, which is really very precious. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session and sharing with us the success framework that you've come up with, Soch Kyan Karma Tejas Astitva. I really think that our students have taken away a lot more than they would have expected. And I'm sure that your personal experiences and you showing the uh, humbleness to share those with us. I think that would have definitely motivated our students and made them more confident in working towards their dreams and mottos. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you again. While
Pleasure.
dear students, please do go to the chat box. Answer if you're not in a hurry. I'd like to ask a favor of interacting with our students for a little bit.
Sure, sure, sure.
So students, you can post your questions in the chat box. Along with that, I'm posting a Google form related on today's session. You can please fill that.
Anju, if I can request you to just uh, look at the questions and just if you can let me know so I can take the questions one by one.
Yes, sir. I will
Yes,
read out the questions to you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Yes, you're all free to interact with our guest today. You can post the questions in the question answer portion or in the chat box.
I assure you that there are only two answers. One answer will be, I'll give you the answer if I know about it. Otherwise, I'll tell you I don't know. I'll find out and get back to you. So don't feel tense about asking a question. And every time you ask a question in a group, you're doing a great service because there is somebody else who wants to ask a similar question.
Sir Farooq is asking about when the first semester will start. So I think I'll answer that.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
start our semester as soon as our orientation sessions are over. You'll be given the schedule and everything in your registered mail IDs and phone numbers. Don't worry about it.
Great, great. That's also one of the reasons why I ask somebody from the faculty to also coordinate, because there are questions usually in the orientation session which is related to academics. Yes.
Okay, again, there's a question, when will our last semester be? That will depend on your course. If you're in for a 2-year course, it will be at the end of 4 semesters. When will orientation sessions be over? See, you will get all the information regarding all this in your numbers and mail IDs. So if you may please post your questions to our guest for today, because only he can answer things that he's spoken about. The rest of the things you can discuss with us anytime.
So as we say in teaching and facilitation, that if there are no questions, it's either I've done a phenomenal session or whatever I've said has not really been a distance.
I think it's the former, sir. Sir, we do have a question. May I?
Yes, yes.
What if I'm forced to take a course? Do you think I'll be successful? The question is from Farooq Jaffer.
Okay, okay. So Farooq, I would like to say that this is a situation a lot of youngsters find themselves in due to family pressure. The family thinks that they know best in terms of what career will work for them and what should they do to change that and help them take a different career pathway. So what I would like to say is that at the beginning, when you joined this first year program on day one, you didn't have a choice, right? But every day as you spend time in the course, you are getting the tools to decide for yourself what career you want to take up. So let us assume that your parents or whoever is forcing you wants you to take route number 1 or route number 2, and you want to take route number 3 or route number 4. You should collect a lot of data, right, about each one of these routes and about yourself, and build a case for you to talk to them with logic in terms of why you are taking this different pathway. And sometimes the decision is made as you're studying in the course. Through a 2-year 3-year program, you can build a lot of skill sets, acquire knowledge to take up that pathway, to go into the career stream that you want to and make your case for it, right? I'm not saying that you should do it the way in Ustad Hotel Dulkar does it, right? Where he tells his father he's going for a course, but he lands up doing some other course. right? He ends up doing it in a hotel, whereas his father wants him to be in a different field. I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you will understand what I'm saying. But I think it's important to collect the information, get to know about the job opportunities, career pathways, on how the career that you are going to take up is a better route for you, and explain it to it. And we usually become very emotional when we're trying to convince people. The more data, the more evidence you build, it's easier to do that. If you want to discuss this further, I don't know what the specific circumstances are. Please take my number from Dr. Sharon, and please give me a call. Just text me and we can discuss this further on how you can convince them to, move forward on the career pathway you want to take up. So we can discuss this further, because there's no generic solution for this. We need to go deeper and see how to architect a plan for you to do what you want to do. I hope that answers your question for now. Also, with the limited time, we want to get to other questions. I hope this is helpful, Farooq.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there's a question from Ramesh Madhav.
Yes.
He wants to know what are the best methods to keep your audience entertained during a public speaking session.
So, what I can do is I can tell Sharon ma'am to have somebody take a session only on public speaking and how to manage the audience. But just to give a few tips, I think it's important to pay attention to your audience and see what kind of an audience you are engaging with, and plan for it by having diversity. So we say in training that different people have visual orientation they have. So if you're doing a public presentation, it's good to have slides with pictures as against only text. If you're doing an extempore talk, it's good to have a mix of stories, quotations, information which you feel that the audience didn't know, and by knowing it they can find it useful, or by talking about applications so that they find it more relevant. Now this also is highly dependent on the topic and how you make it relevant to the audience. So these are some tools and tricks, but specifically we have to look at what you can do as a speaker, and also what you can do in terms of engaging with the audience. Even though the audience might not respond in a public speaking thing, you might, for example, say, now I'm sure some of you will disagree with what I'm saying, but for those of you who disagree with me, I would like to present this fact that when you look at love marriages and arranged marriages, people say that more love marriages lead to divorces. For your specific evidence, the Indian legal system, judiciary system, does not have a column to fill out where they ask you whether it's a love marriage or arranged marriage. So there is no data to prove that a love marriage has more divorces or arranged marriage has more divorces. I rest my case, right? So you're just making it, you're engaging, and the audience is not responding to your public speaking, but you're making a debate. The judges will be impressed with the way you've crafted your argument. So that's just a sign. I hope you're getting an idea of what I'm trying to indicate, Ramesh.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question. This is from Sana Mohammad Rafi. She asks, sometimes when we set our goals and know the way to reach there, but situations won't go along with the goals, like the present COVID pandemic.
Right.
So what will you tell those people to motivate them?
So I'll let me just give you a quick anecdote to just explain. So for example, now COVID-19 is definitely a situation where it's pandemic, and it's brought down all of us, and there are a whole lot of problems which best, which are creating obstacles, but it's also creating opportunities, right? So now, since everything is digital, you have an opportunity to reach out to people. So I'm just saying, right? So I also work with social organizations where sometimes people who seek mentoring earlier used to say, if it's a girl and they don't take into consideration it's a girl, they'll say, I'm really busy. Why don't you come and meet me on the weekend, right? Now, if the girl is 16, 17, 18, and this man who's saying is 35, 40, she doesn't feel safe. She doesn't want to go, right? But now, because of the pandemic, nobody wants to meet anyone. So you can easily do a Zoom call with faculty or somebody else facilitating it. So it can be an online digital mentoring session, right? So this is one example. Second example is I had a group of friends who went for a trek, and for trekking to a particular place, and they went up the hills, in a car, and on the way down, they found that a rock had blocked the road pathway, and there were people stuck on either side of the road, right? So there were people who were waiting for the road to be cleared, right? That would be the best thing, to wait for the rock to be cleared, right? So that's one way. But one of my friends, Vijay, a very smart guy who thinks on the feet, you know what he did? Basically, what he did is he moved across, and there was a pathway to, for you to physically cross as an individual, but not as a car, right? So he walked around to the other side, and he found a car where there were people who wanted to go on top. And he said, there are four of us. They spoke to the driver. He took one of the drivers along to the other side, took the driver to the other side, explained it to him. They swapped passengers, right? So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times when we look at the door that's closed, we are looking, Sana, only at what is closed. We don't look at other opportunities. In all our religions, they say that you have faith in God, either work through that obstacle, go above it, go under it, go around it, right? So, and maybe there's a different route. There's a different route probably, to solve the situation. So again, I would say that, dwell on this and see what could be ways. And I don't know what specific problem you're thinking about, right? So I don't know what specific problem you're thinking about right now. So if you want to share more, please feel free to get in touch with me on an email, and I can see how I can help you out. I hope that's useful for you.
So another question from Ramesh Mother. So which is the most important character trait needed for success according to you?
Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence, just like you're persistently asking questions, Ramesh. Keep up that persistence, and I'm sure that that's the single most trait. With persistence, you can build talent, you can build skill, you can build a great attitude. Persistence is the greatest trait. Persistence and consistency. That's what really counts. That's what really matters.
Thank you so much, sir. If there are no more questions, we have with us Dr. Bindu Krishnan, Associate Professor and Head of Department of Data Science, Information Technology and Interior Design, for the vote of thanks. Ma'am is waiting online. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. I'd like to give a brief account of what she has been and is in the university. She heads the Department of Data Science, Information Technology and Interior Design in Jain deemed to be University. Prior to this, she served as HOD of Business Analytics in St. Teresa's College, Ernakulam. She is an expert in statistical software for data analytics, such as R programming, SAS programming, Python, Tableau, MathCAD, Mathematica, Minitab, and SPSS. With a PhD in statistics from Bharatiyar University, her major areas of interest include data science and analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, distribution theory, and time series modeling. She is a published author of several research articles and also a book. I welcome you, ma'am, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anju.
That's great.
So,
I think students are really lucky to have professors like Dr. Bindu, Dr. Sharon. It's great.
thank you, sir.
Students are really fortunate.
Thank you, sir. So, respected our speaker. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
So, respected our speaker, Mr. Shravan Shetty, Dr. Sharon, and Ms. Anju, my dear faculty colleagues, and dear students. So it's my privilege and pleasure to propose this vote of thanks the third day of this orientation program. First of all, I would like to express my hearty vote of thanks to our dear speaker, Mr. Shravan Shetty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who spared the last few hours with us in a very thought-provoking session from this, of course, busy schedule. Even though I was able to join this program for the last few minutes due to some constraints, but I could see the way of that communication, the way of expressing in a very vibrant and, what can I say, with such an energy level, of course, and it's a very interesting manner. So once again, on behalf of all Jain family, I express my sincere thanks to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I take this opportunity to thank all my dear colleagues, especially to Dr. Sharon and Ms. Anju for successful coordination of this program. Finally, I thank the wonderful students from all departments of this institution for their active participation in this program. So again, once again, I thank each and everyone present here for the success and support for this program. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Bindu.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear students, please do find the link to the activity for today's session in the chat box. Please do fill it up as soon as possible. And you were all wonderful today. You were all active throughout the session. And I hope you have taken away so much from the session. And I thank Shravan sir again for your kind
Anju,
presence. Yes.
Anju, thank you for hosting this program wonderfully well and moderating this session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you, Dr. Sharon, for introducing.
Thank you. Thank you, Shravan. Thank you. Thank you, Advocate Anju. Thanks a lot. And I hope we'll see you again. Thank you for a wonderful session. Yes.
Thank you.
Wish
sir.
all the sessions a great year ahead. All the best. And please feel free to get in touch with me if you need any support. Dr. Sharon can help you, or get on LinkedIn and you can get connected. Either way. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
Everybody.
you. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.